Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to episode 2. Woohoo!
Episode 2.
We made it this far, right? We're feeling really good about ourselves.
Yeah, we just need people to listen now. That's what we're looking for.
They will come, Alex. Be good, and the crowd will come, I say.
Yeah, it's like Field of Dreams. You build it and they will come.
Exactly. So yeah,
Okay.
in all seriousness, So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for joining us for episode 2. And in the first episode, we obviously give you a little introduction into us and our journey as mothers. And with this episode 2, we really want to talk about the topic of redefining ambition.
Yeah. So hopefully we've got some gems to share with you on how to redefine your own ambition, how we've redefined ours, and I guess some tips on how you do more with less time.
Yes. That's the key, isn't it? Doing more with less time. I'll paint a picture, right? I know it's a bit much, but I'll paint the picture that I thought about the other day. I have a new lens for looking at motherhood and ambition. And it's almost as if, when people come up with a bucket list, simply because they've been given a limited time to live, I think you can almost look at motherhood like that. Because when you've given limited time to live, you suddenly prioritize, right? You think, I'm going to create a bucket list, the things I really want to do in my life, and I'm going to make sure I do them in that limited time. And I was thinking about a similar lens of motherhood, of you suddenly now have a child. So your priorities have changed, your time has changed. So because of that, you now have to look at your life from a lens of how can I think not even necessarily do more with less time, but do the important things in the limited time I have. And I think that's really been helpful for me because, again, to go a little bit deeper, people who are given, not that I don't want to be, so I'm sorry, everyone. I don't want to be dark and gloomy with this, right? It's positive, it's energetic. But, often there's been a lot of, research as well around people who have limited time to live, that actually a lot of times, because their time is limited, they actually find more purpose in that time because they suddenly think, wow, I'm going to enjoy what's left of it. And I think it's the same way that we should look at motherhood, in the sense of it's not a bad thing that you have less time. It's a good thing because suddenly you can cut out the crap, right?
Yeah.
I can cut out the crap, all this time. I'll give you an example. When I was in a corporate job, back before I had kids, I used to spend like an hour getting ready in the morning. An hour. I used to call my friend, what am I going to wear today? Should I wear? So who cares? Now I have kids. I'm like, I got 5 minutes, if anything, to get ready. And that's a good thing because then I can just get dressed and just get out my house. But anyway, coming back to the point, I think for me really is looking at it through that lens of limited time. How can I make the use of this limited time has really empowered me to actually be positive and enjoy this journey. I think actually, I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I don't have too much time to be wasting. I have less time, and how can I get the best out of it?
I completely agree with that. So I dread to think all the time I did waste before, but I think that you're right, that it isn't about doing more with less. We are already doing so much, be it actually doing your job, looking after kids, all of the stuff you've got to do at home. And I think actually it is about working out what is important to you and then making that a priority. So the book that I text you about this morning is really, really super interesting. I have to say, I haven't listened to loads of it yet. It's called The Future is Greater, and it's a working mother's guide to finding balance. And the author is called Maxine Nwaneri. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. I will tell you more about it when I've read more, but it is all on that theme, completely focused on deciding what works for you, working out what your priorities are, the things that actually matter in your life, and then making time for those things. So not actually spending your time thinking, I'll get around to it one day, because I think we all do that. You've got these plans, these ambitions, these things you want to do, and you'll do it at some point when the stars align, when everything's perfect and you'll be able to do it. And she talks about carving out little chunks of time for yourself. Like she wrote the book in 30 minutes a day because that was all the time she had, but she'd worked out what was important to her, and then she took it from there. And I think that that's really kind of crucial. How do you make time work for you? How do you cut out the crap? Like you say, how do you get cut through that and focus on the things that really matter. And yeah, I'll tell you more when I've read more of the book, but I feel like that is definitely really important. You can't prioritize unless you've worked out what your kind of ideal life looks like, what works for you, and how to focus on that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And we'll definitely add the notes with the title of the book to the notes section as well, in case anybody wants to check that out. So in all, I think perhaps we can do a walkthrough, Alex. I was thinking in terms of, I want to say this as well, like, obviously we want to empower women and inspire women to do great things with their lives. But at the same time, I think it's good to start from the beginning of our motherhood journey.
Yeah.
The early days of having a baby. Like, I remember, having a child, and this child just has come out of you. And it is important to highlight the importance of rest. I would say that at the beginning, if you're at the beginning of the journey, just rest, right? Rest with your baby, get lots of cuddles, do a lot of skin to skin, because I think it's important to recognize that this journey comes in phases. There's initial phase of just being present with your baby, because I think sometimes society gives us this message of women should do more, but again, that comes in that chapter of doing more. If you're listening, you just had a child, enjoy the time. The time will fly. Everyone says that, it's cliche, I know, but it will fly. So yeah, just rest. If you need to watch Selling Sunset on rerun, girl, do what you gotta do. It's fine. Like, I watched so many episodes of Selling Sunset, and I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I took a little bit of time to relax, because now I know I have work to do. So my priority has changed in the sense that now I'm like, okay, the kids are slightly older. My son, for example, is at nursery. So whilst at nursery, I'm working. I'm making the most of the time. So I'll give you an idea into. Actually, I'll let you talk on that, Alex. That initial phase.
I mean, I really loved that initial phase. I did a lot of sitting around. I mean, it was COVID as well. I think I probably didn't crochet for like the first 6 weeks. I'm really into crochet. I taught myself in the pandemic. I make blankets for like every baby that in my circle that is, coming into my circle of friends. I love that creative side of things, but I didn't do it for like a good 6 weeks after Ted was born. I did a lot of sitting around, breastfeeding, eating lots of chocolate and drinking lots of water. And like you say, watching, like, I guess low, what's the word for it? Like, nothing I had to think about too much, like that kind of chewing gum for the brain TV. But I loved it. It was COVID, so no one could visit. We had that like really nice cuddly time of just having a few quiet weeks in February of being at home. So yeah, I definitely recommend the relaxation side of things when you first had a baby. And then, you slowly start over the course of time to get back to yourself. But I think that takes quite some time as well. You definitely feel like a different person for a while, and you forget what it's like to not be thinking about nappies and bedtimes and whether they're having enough sleep, and whether you're having enough sleep, which you're inevitably not. But yeah, I think it takes a long time to or it did for me anyway. Maybe other people come back to it quicker, but it took me a long time to feel like myself again. And I probably am still a different version of myself than I was pre-motherhood. And like I think you said when we were chatting before we started recording, there are lots of different phases and stages between that having a baby and getting back to some sort of normality, or
Yeah, exactly. It's a phase. So recognize what phase you're in and make the most of that phase. Don't let this podcast rile you up, or it's up to you, but don't feel bad or guilty, because I think that, again, mom guilt, that's another topic for another day. Always feel bad whatever you're doing, right? But
yeah,
the reality is that mothers are very busy people, and once you get to a different phase where you're ready, or you feel like you're ready to get into some sort of a structure, then we can talk about how to redefine your ambition. Because the key thing is that once you have children, like I said, we have less time. And I think I find that mothers are very busy people. That's one thing that's been really shocking to me. Just how, for example, if I'm downstairs with the kids, I'm making like their breakfast. I'm also tidying up the house, and I'm like,
Yeah.
we're so busy. I don't know why women are so busy. I don't want to be busy, but I am busy because the house. But I'll give you an example. My husband's downstairs now with the kids. I guarantee you, he is not trying to tidy up the house. He's just looking after them. And to him, that's a job in itself. So it's incredible how, I think it's just the way our brains are wired. Maybe we're wired to do more or want to like do more. So because I think now I find that the challenge is because there is so much that you see that you want to do, you now have to then think, okay, what do I need to do and what do I not need to do? What can I get someone else to do? Like, and being a little bit selective is how you're going to maintain your sanity and actually achieve your goals. So to paint a picture of my actual life, so I'm based in the UK, but I work EST time. So, I work with American clients. So which means between the morning and 2 p.m. when I typically start work, I'm with the children. And then my mother-in-law comes at 2, just before 2. And then we transition over from, mummy running the park to mummy, professional mummy, right? And then I work typically till 11 p.m. at night, which is 6 p.m. EST.
Oh, I'm asleep long before that.
Again, I used to, but anyway, yes. So that's my structure. So obviously, I only have, and in terms of working hours, I mean, my son goes to nursery Tuesday and Thursday. So again, by the time I'm helping Nana get ready, because again, I want to get involved in getting ready, even though I know Nana's capable. Again, is this mommy need to be involved, and you don't want to feel like you're just handing them over to Nana and going off. So it's hard, but you'll get it if you have a child as well. You get it. You just know we want to be involved. Anyway, so between 2 p.m. to 11. Even though it seems like it's 9 hours, I have so much more less because the time is compressed, because I've got to think about, sometimes I can hear my daughter crying. I feel like I need to help Nana with her, or my son has to get ready for nursery. So I've got to put them to bed and come back to work. So there's a lot of going back and forth. And because of that, sometimes it's hard for me to, and then I've got to tidy up the house and, think about what they need a weekend, what's coming up next, plan for it. We're going to, anyway. So, because there's so many things you're juggling, I think it's easy to lack the prioritizing or need to do everything. I think that's it. The thing here, sometimes you feel like you need to be the one to make the bottle, to like the bottle's the right temperature. But what I'm learning is you need to make the bottle. Can someone else make the bottle? And I'm thinking of getting a cleaner. I know sometimes I feel a little bit bad. I'm like, maybe I should be cleaning my house. Is it lazy, or is it, who am I to think I can get a cleaner when maybe I should be cleaning? But do I need to clean my house? Do I personally clean it? Like what do I want to let go of? And it's this, like I said, it's this conflict of so many things, right? Alex, what do you think?
I mean, so for me, I think something you said before was like, maybe we're just wired to do all of this. And what I think is that maybe some of it's just social expectation. Actually, I think that, you were saying your husband's downstairs and he's doing one job, which is looking after the kids.
And it's plenty. He says it's plenty.
And he thinks that's plenty, which is fine. That's great. I'm glad that he's helping. Or not helping. They're his children. You know what I mean? I'm glad that he is an engaged father. But at the same time, I think that the social expectation and the way people are being socialized, or the way women have been socialized from being children, is that you help, you get on with things, you tidy, you do this, you do that. And actually, you're really spot on in saying, no, actually, somebody else needs to do that. It doesn't have to be me. And in terms of sort of division of labor in my house, both Eddie and I work, but Eddie compressed his hours. So he has one day off a week where he looks after Ted, just himself. And I go to work on that day and get to completely not switch off. That doesn't sound too great to my employer. Switch off from being a mum anyway. For
employers not listening.
I get to go to work and not think about kids things anyway. But in terms of division of labor at home, that we've got kind of set jobs. So I don't wash any clothes at all. None. I don't think about it because Eddie does that. That's his job. And partially that's because he's really kind of anal about how it should be hung up. And you know, he said to me the other day, I did a load of washing, and he said, "Can you not wash my clothes? Because I don't like the way you do it." So I was like, well, that's fine by me.
Will say that. I'll say, yes, that'll be great.
So, you know, with certain things, yeah, I definitely am the kind of driver in terms of cooking and things like that. I've really de-skilled Eddie in terms of cooking because I like to do that. But I do try and make sure that I'm not taking on everything, because people are conditioned to do it and just accept it and take on more of that burden. And actually, I think that one thing for me, I really want to encourage people to kind of do less, to make a point of that, and to push back on being the one that kind of has to think about everything and has to pack, you know, the nappy bag and take care of all of those things. I think, I'm not saying that it's like weaponized incompetence, which I know can be like a real thing that some people do to just get out of doing the jobs themselves. But I think that men often aren't trained or expected from being young to do some of these things. So I think that really I would just encourage people to push back and do less. It's not being lazy. And I think that that is the thing that people worry about. They worry that they should be doing everything, and actually you don't have time, and your ambitions and drive shouldn't be bottom of the pile. It should be given a priority, but it can't be unless you you know, rely on other people. And I know that some people don't have the networks or don't have a partner, and I get that that must be really difficult, but I think some of it has got to be about lightening the load, about doing things, you know, perfection is the enemy of progress, isn't it? Of doing things as well as it needs to be done and not trying to beat yourself up or make everything perfect.
This is it. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. It's the perfection element. Like if I make the choose their outfits, I mean, we won't go into that, but yeah, choosing their outfits, for example, like perfection, yeah, it's the enemy of progress. It really is. This is it. I think maybe women lean more in that direction of, if I do it, it'll be perfect. And again, you know, there's so many competing ideas and thoughts, but you definitely were right about societal pressures as well. But I think we just have to be a little bit, I think you have to be a little bit brutal on yourself, brutal on the reality that, like Alex said earlier on, your time is limited. You know, time is limited. You don't have 24 hours in a day. So because you don't, you just have to be selective. And I think that's a key thing. I had an idea the other day. I was there's a book I read, 4,000 Weeks. 4,000 is by Oliver Burkemann. And the whole idea of is this idea of like a curse of competence, where because you feel you can do something, you want to do it. But just I've realized that just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. And it comes down to, you know, just because you can clean your house doesn't mean you should clean your house. Like, do you need to be the one who's cleaning your house or washing your, I don't know, washing the clothes? Or,
I mean, I'm going to say, Tiffany, go ahead and get that cleaner. Do it.
No, I need to, because I can't clean this house, have a career, achieve my goals, look after the children, be their mom, be present, and be success, and feel like I've had a successful life. So the idea of this competence, that something has to give. Like, you have to, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. So by selecting the things that you want to fail at, you can actually focus on the things that you want to be successful at.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, when I'm on my deathbed, I'm going to be glad I failed at cleaning my house. And maybe I can make peace with. But in the moment, it always feels like I need to be cleaning the house. So yeah, again, it's just this idea of priorities. So I'm now at the point where I am starting to think. Now, for example, my mother-in-law will, you know, offer to help wash, you know, do the laundry. And sometimes I put back on her, no, it's fine. It's fine. No, it's not fine, Tiffany. Just let her do it. She can help. She has the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, it's just having this dialogue in my head about the things I don't need to do. Because at the end of the day, like, the most important thing is that we raise happy, balanced children, right? So the time with them, you can't optimize that, right? You can't shorten it. You can't redefine it. You need to spend time with your children. And then secondly, what about you? You know, are you balanced? Are you happy? And a key part of that is living a purposeful, happy, you know, career life. And if your career is important to you, then you need to give it the time it requires.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I I did things this year. I bought a robo Hoover because I was like, I am sick of hoovering up. Don't want to do it. So now it comes downstairs. Well, it's downstairs 2 a.m. every night. It hoovers downstairs. And we didn't buy an expensive one. We bought a cheap one. But God, it's made such a difference. And I think for me, I really like the finding a shortcut to achieving something, and putting in a system that then makes things easier. You know, I think anything that you can to kind of lighten the load is really important. And sometimes that takes a little bit of setting up to start off with. So it can feel like a bit of a time suck at first, but then once it's up and you've got a system in place, things kind of slot in, and you, in the long term, you end up with the time back to be able to focus on things that are actually important.
Okay. No, that's a good point. You know, I need one of those. I think that's an investment I definitely need to make. I recently, I know I'm a bit late again, but I recently got an Alexa.
Okay.
But that's helped, because what I find is that Alexa helps with even like entertaining the children while I can do certain things. Like, for example, if I need to do something very quickly, I can put Alexa on, and they're so interested in what's going on with the technology that they're loudly just distracted, and it takes that focus away from me. So I can do something very quickly. And I find that to be very helpful. Okay, so, and again, just coming back to that shift in, so just to understand what we're really discussing here is about how your time is a lot shorter. So it's okay, like accept that and then use it well, prioritize well so that you can do more. I came across a quote the other day by Caitlin Moran, and it said, in the tiny windows of time that your child is asleep or someone else is looking after her, you find yourself becoming almost superhumanly productive. Give a new mother a sleeping child for an hour and she can achieve 10 times more than a childless person. In a book by Caitlin Moran called How to Be a Woman. So I wanted to know what you thought of that, Alex, in terms of shifting to productivity.
Yeah, I really like that. Although I would say a new mother probably just wants to sleep. But I think definitely, you know, when you're a few weeks in, you can fly around and really prioritize and know what's important and get it done. When you do that, get that moment to yourself. I quite like Caitlin Moran in general, although I think she calls herself Catlin, which is weird.
Right. I've never heard it said out loud, funny enough. So
I think that she says Catlin. A little bit of an aside. No, I think she changed her name, and as a teenager, she thought that it was pronounced Catlin, but it's actually Caitlin. But yeah, I do really like her. I like her kind of whole philosophy, really. I really enjoyed How to Be a Woman in general. And I think that, you do end up being that kind of superhuman, crazy, I've got to get it done person outside of that time when you don't have your children. Like for me, it's when Ted has gone to sleep at nighttime. It's like, now it's my time. It's time to get on with stuff.
Yeah, so I like that, and the whole idea of this is like, hope is not lost. You know, hope is not lost as a mum, because I think even going back to what you were saying about that book you were reading, is I did that, wow, like, so we can thrive as mothers. Wow, that's a really new kind of, it's a new material, because I think it's hard, you know, let's not even, like, it's really hard. There's been times when I thought, wow, I've actually been so emotional about things, and I sit down, I'm like, this is hard. This is what hard feels like. You know, there's a quote by there's a guy called Alex Hormozy. I don't know if anyone is into that sort of personal development, and Alex Hormozy talks about the whole idea of this quote is, this is what hard feels like, and this is for the gladiators in the ring, and you're fighting to maybe, from his perspective, to run a business, and this is what hard feels like. And every day I thought to myself, this is what hard feels like, and this is our own version of hard, is raising a child. It's hard. You know, so many women have done it before us, so many women will do it after us, but it's okay to also accept that it's hard, because I think sometimes we're so busy, and because you don't accept that it's hard, you might think maybe you're the only one struggling. And that's a very sad kind of dialogue. But you have to understand that everyone thinks it's hard. Just because a lot of women don't talk about it doesn't mean they're not struggling. So once you can accept that it's hard, then you can take a deep breath and say, this is what hard feels like. And it feels good. And just be like, okay, it's hard. And how can I, you know, there's been times when I even have like a pity party, you know, I'll be completely vulnerable. I've sat there in my head, I thought, this is hard. And I'm breathing. I'm like, I want to cry. I cry. And I think this is so hard. Like, how can I be expected to not just live my own life, but also be responsible for these amazing children? And kind of like, because a role as a mum, you're so close to them emotionally and, you know, so much more that everything you do affects them and vice versa. So it's a big, you know, it's a big pressure. And I think it's okay to accept that it's hard. And then from that perspective of it's hard, then think, okay, what small things can I do to make my life better, or to not just suffer through it, but actually thrive and enjoy the stress, enjoy the chaos, enjoy the uncertainty, and actually, you know, like enjoy it, because it is chaotic, but it's wonderful.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good point. I mean, for me, it is really hard. And I think for me as well, I only have one child. So I definitely think that it's hard, but I probably have more time just because I only have one. I really want to kind of build a community with this where people can, you know, share their own experiences and talk about what they like this journey means to them, and maybe get hope and inspiration from people who are already doing it, who are maybe like 6 months down the line. I work with somebody who constantly says to me, does it get better? Does it? Because people often say like, you know what people are like. They sometimes bring that really negative, oh, well, when they get older, it's just a different kind of hard. And I think that's not really super positive. For me, I think it's got a lot easier. Now my child's 3. I know that life's not going to be perfect. I know that there will be different things, but that newborn stage, and when they are, you know, 1, and it's all encompassing, that's really super hard. And you are just learning how to be a parent and things like that. And I think when people are like, oh, yeah, well, if you think that's hard, try having a teenager. It's like, well, that's not really helpful. Yeah, not really helpful, guys. I think what we really want to do is empower people, help people to enjoy it, to make the best of this stage, to not just wish it away, to actually enjoy it and get through it, and to find their way out at the other end and enjoy developing their new life, their new career, their new ambitions that fit in with their family, that support what they want to do, and support, for me, being a role model for my child, to show, look, I can still be ambitious. I can still have this personality that is not just about my child. I want them to see me as something other than just their mother. So yeah, I think, yeah, just really want to help people embrace this journey.
Yes, that's a good point, Alice, and we'll wrap it up with that. But yes, that's definitely where we're going with this. It's life is different. You know, it's hard, but it's not a drudgery hard. There's different types of hard. There's some things that are just hard, like you suffer through it, right? But you shouldn't have to suffer through motherhood. You shouldn't. You want your kids are crying and you feel like you want to cry yourself, cry. Okay, let's all just sit down somewhere and cry. And it's okay, but just know that it's beautiful, it's chaotic, and it's beautiful. And together as this community, we can share, we can be vulnerable, we can help each other, and we can thrive, and we can be mothers and also have ambitions. Something will give, but that's okay. Maybe those things were not important anyway, right? I mean, it needs an hour to get ready. Now I just wake up and I put on my Gymshark and it takes me 5 minutes. I'm like, wow. I mean, I don't look as good, but I feel like I look really good. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there you go.
Nice positive note to end on there as well.
Yeah.
Just
that's where
have
we're
to
at.
embargo the video
Exactly.
so people can't see how we're dressed today.
Yeah, you don't want to see my hair right now, but yeah, it's style, isn't it? Really, really what we're sharing here. And I hope you guys have really enjoyed this episode and really understood where we're going in terms of life has changed, and that's okay, and it can be wonderful in a different version.
Lovely.
So,
All right. Thanks, guys.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us for this one, and we'll see you in the next one.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.